Are you using Antigravity with Team Tab?
I'm like, and my phone, the weather took out my phone. And so I was just like, yeah. Wait, there was like a coding conference today?
All right, this is an audio test. 1, 2. Can everyone here hear me? So yes, good. Can people on the live stream hear this okay? Or do you need a louder? Live stream folks, we are talking to you. Sorry for the delays. We're just getting set up here. As you can imagine, Chicago got hit with some storms, so we're just getting pizza and sodas here. Yep, cool. I'm gonna mute the mic again because there's just a lot of chatter here for now. But once we get started, we'll be back. So if you see anyone coming in the chat, just let them know. We'll be here soon. Thanks, everybody. Sorry for the wait. right. For the folks in the live stream, can I see some thumbs up? Or some comments? Yep. We're walking. I just gotta make sure Dan's stand there for a second. You see, stand right there. Oh! All right, can folks in the live see them? Can folks hear us? Yeah, we're trying to be, like a mess. We're trying to hide here a little bit, see if you guys can see us. All right, I think we are live. So with that being said, let's get started with another year of GG meetups. And let me stop this like ambient music. So, all right, let's get this going. Cool. All right, so hey everybody, thanks for coming out today. If you need the Wi-Fi, it's there. We're going to do some cool stuff today, so don't use it. We're going to be talking today about anti-gravity. We have a pretty great presenter today.
Also, rechange, it's over there too.
Oh, nice. It's on the wall too, so if you forget. Order of business, we are only kind of allowed on this floor, so after you're done, just exit out of the building going down. Bathrooms are right around this corner, okay? So bathrooms are right out the door and behind this wall here. So there's that. Yes, imagine if there's a wall. So today, we're going to be talking about anti-gravity and some agentic workflows from a resident Google developer, Shadab. So we're really happy to have him here. Thanks, Shadab, for coming in and braving the cold weather. We all survived the frigid temperatures and the snowfall this past weekend. I know my car almost did it, so I don't know about y'all. We are here at the TAG office, so with that, I want to give a shout out to TAG. Thank you for hosting us again. This is now about a year or 2 years of solid hosting venue space. It's kind of hard to not be here when it's a great location, great food, and so thank you TAG for hosting us. For those who don't know, TAG is an Aspen group. They oversee brands like Aspen Dental, Clear Choice, Well Now, Chapter, Love It, sorry, gotta update the slides, folks. Love It, formerly Easy Pet Vet, and Motto Clear Aligners. So check them out if you haven't. They're basically all over the place at this point.
Sure. Continuing on with the commercial break. Follow us on Twitter, Rex, or whatever the hell you want to call it. Or Chicago GGG.
Maybe we do Blue Sky. I don't know. Well, we're gonna figure out socials. Hopefully.
Yeah, we're not great at it, but we exist.
Yeah.
So. All right. So be excellent to one another. Code of conduct, essentially. We're a diverse community, learning from one another. If you see something, say something. Harassment, we don't tolerate it. You changing on me, and I'm not gonna remember the rest of it.
Sorry.
That just didn't look good personally. Practice saying yes and to each other. So aim to add to the conversation more than anything else. And?
Yes, and really, we're just an inclusive community. Some of us are vibe coding our dreams and making our next $1 billion startup, and some of us don't even know what the hell AI is. So let's just be nice and help one another out, right? We're all here to learn from one another. That's the most important thing. So, cool. So let's talk, because I kind of want to actually poll this to the audience. I don't know, the GGG cloud. Yeah, so I don't know if y'all noticed, there's two GGG clouds. There's GGG Cloud, and there's two GGGs in Chicago. There's GGG Cloud Chicago and GGG Chicago. I've heard over the years that it made a lot more sense keeping them split, and they truly did, but in doing so, I think sometimes there's events that either get missed. So I don't know how y'all feel about it. We're going to ask a question in the post-event survey about the thoughts of merging these two together. So formally, technically, if you were to say, I run the Cloud Chicago community along with Dan and crew, and then Dan, you've always historically led the...
I run the generic one, but let's be honest, it's been AI for like a year now. It's not true.
Yeah, and while the separation at one point made sense, I think nowadays, we're basically posting each other's events, we're helping each other out. There have been some cases where there's been cloud events that we share and GG events, but I don't know. I think maybe bringing it together may make the most sense. There's a whole reason as to why the two different ones exist, but we won't talk about that now. So, Let us know the feedback. There's a question. Hopefully this area should take along. If you feel strongly that they should remain separate, by all means, let us know.
Or feel free to say something afterwards.
Oh yeah, or feel free to say something if you're here, or you're on the live stream. So I will check the comments in the live stream after I'm done. Sorry. So that, I want to also announce Cloud Next is coming up April 22nd to the 24th. For those interested, it is in Las Vegas again. So there's a QR code to check out the event. There is a virtual component to this, so you can just watch it from home. If you work somewhere that allows you to go to conferences, you have until February 13th to get the early bird pricing. There's like a partner and standard rate after that, and then they have like a last minute rate. But because y'all are here, you also have a code to save $100. So Dev 899 VIP will get to you for $899. So if you have any opportunity to go, hope to see you there. I think I saw some of you folks last year actually. But other than that, yeah, check out that event. Whoa, there's a lot more people coming in. Hello. Yeah, 5 people. That's good. Cool. Welcome. So the last thing I'll also mention is there are also some benefits to Google for developers, developers.google.com. If you haven't already, if you already have a Google account, you just kind of sign in and it just makes one for you. Sometimes with this, you get things like Gemini CLI and such, and also like latest news. That's how I came to find out about Antigravity, because it was one of the blog articles there. I've also seen a lot of folks mention things like credits and opportunities. There's a few tiers to the program. I'm not here to sell you on which tier is better than not. You can go read that on your own. But by signing up, you get 10 Firebase Studio workspaces. You also get Gemini access as well as CLI access. They also give you monthly training credits for Cloud Skills Boost. The free tier is actually pretty compelling, especially if you're getting started. I don't know how many of y'all are students. There's some aggressive student pricing going on too with this stuff, if not free. So make sure to take part. I think actually goes to the student program or something. So yeah, check out that stuff. And if you are inclined, the premium tier here not only gets you more credits, but they also give you cloud credits and give you a certification exam. It's a pretty good bang for your buck. And on top of it, if you're running into quota limits, it's also a good way of avoiding that quota. It helps you. I think that doubles your credit hours or something. So I believe that also impacts anti-gravity too. I think it also helps folks with anti-gravity credits. So consider it. I'm not here to sell you them. With that, let's turn it over to the person you folks are probably here for, Shadab. Shadab is a local Google developer expert in AI and ML. He is the lead engineer focusing on AI and ML engineering at the Map Company. I'm sure he's going to have a lot better slides to introduce himself than I do. So without further ado, let's introduce Shadab. Thanks, Shadab. Give me 1 sec. Sorry, shut up. The live stream, we gotta fix it. Where'd it go? Capture card, preview.
Hi everyone, good evening. Thanks for coming. I'm Shalab, and a bit about me. Like I work as a lead engineer at Mapco, focusing on data products and generic products. Apart from that, like back in 2019, I co-founded community Quantum Computing India, where we were focusing on bringing people from diverse background all together to learn about quantum, work on some community-led projects. And Yeah, and I've co-authored like a couple of books, working on 2 more, and I've done some research also on quantum machine learning and at the intersection with healthcare. Apart from that, I mean, if you want to connect with me, you can reach out through the LinkedIn, and this is my website. So all the details you will find like of my work, talks, and everything, like whatever I do. So starting with today's topic, Google has recently launched Google Antigravity, and we all have been doing vibe coding from like last more than a year now, right? Like the cursor game and lovable base, windsurf, and a lot more tools are coming. Emergent.sh. I mean, we have already moved away from the era of like traditional development, where we were sitting and trying to debug the code and syntaxes by our own, and struggling between like what libraries I should install, what is the syntax, and this, that, and couple like so far we have been in the vibe coding era. If you're not doing vibe coding, then you have been, I mean, you're losing the stake on the table and you're becoming inefficient. So at the same time, we need to understand also, like when you're vibe coding, what are certain sort of like best practices, principles behind it, so that you don't end up passing some of the critical information to the AI or giving something to the code base, which should not be done. And vibe coding is good, but if you don't understand the basic principles of software engineering and all, then that's another problem where we need to understand like how exactly we need to code. So that was the challenge. Like a lot of people who were sort of like, I mean, if you're a non-developer and if you're trying to build a website, if vibe coding tools are not able to sort of like give the desired results, we were struggling in trying to fix the small errors, ending up in like exhausting all our credits and still not getting the right product or production grade sort of like tool with us. So after that, like recently Google Antigravity came, and if we talk about the difference between vibe coding, anti-gravity, like during the vibe coding, we were just giving one prompt to any of the tools, whatever we wanted to use, and based on that, chat prompt, it was sort of like generating the code, and if it needed certain input from us, it was like asking for like what's the input, what are these details and all we need to give, and still there were certain sort of like steps we were missing out during the development phase. Now with the like launch of the anti-gravity, we have sort of like everything integrated all together. We don't have to worry about the file system or testing it in the browser or executing and installing some packages in the terminal. So everything is like so tightly integrated with one another that if you're designing a prompt properly and giving some samples to the anti-gravity, it will create the production grade application for you, which you can just take and deploy wherever you want. Obviously, certain sort of like enhancements we need to do after like whatever the first outcome we get based on the prompt, and the quality of the application, even in the vibe coding, it was depending upon like how well structured and detailed prompt we are passing to the vibe coding tool. And the same is for anti-gravity as well. So while working with anti-gravity also, if you are very clear with what kind of like text stack you want to use, what kind of animation you want to include, if some references we can provide by taking the screenshot of some competitor websites, then that will help in designing the right tool properly. So anti-gravity is sort of like an IDE, like which has been developed by the Google team, similar to what we have been using VS Code. How many of you use VS Code? Anyone who doesn't use? Okay, if you don't use, that's also fine. It is similar to this IDE, where you can sort of like write the code and all, and it has been integrated with the code models as well, where you can sort of like where you have the agents and you can generate the code by passing on the prompts as well. So similar way, like for anti-gravity also we have like this IDE is also similar to VS Code. You can see we have the file explorer over here. You have the Git integration over here. You can install the extensions whatever you want, similar to VS Code, and this is your main prompt area where you can sort of like decide whether you want to properly plan whatever input you're giving to the anti-gravity needs to be planned and then well executed, or you want to go in the fast mode of development. You can select between the models and all as well over here. If you have any existing project which you want to onboard or and want to play around, you can start with open the folder, upload the repository. And similarly, you have agent manager as well. So whatever sort of like workspace and all you are creating for that workspace, whatever the flow and the step-by-step execution will be happening for that application which you are trying to build, you can like browse everything from here. So just before coming over here, I was like just testing one application because the chances are very high during the live talks or demos, it will not work. So just before coming, I was testing end to end that I have a proper subscription and I have not exhausted my limit and everything. So this is your like ID, Open Agent Manager. To work with anti-gravity tool so that it can test end to end, we need to install the extension as well. So if you just search for anti-gravity browser extension, this extension needs to be there. So how we were talking about anti-gravity, how does it work is, you will have multiple agents taking care of back-end development, front-end development, and even testing. It will try to fix the errors also on the go by itself based on like whatever the execution plan has been generated. So even before starting the development part, it will prepare the implementation plan, and once you approve the implementation plan, then it will go ahead and sort of like do the development. So let me show you the implementation plan for this first. So you can, I hope this is readable, right? Or let me increase the font a bit. Okay, so this was my initial very basic prompt. It's not like very out of the box, or have not like paid much sort of like technical complexities I have included to it, but very basic prompt to create a finance risk dashboard for these risk profiles. So based on that, initially it started with sort of like creating the implementation plan. So this was the implementation plan which it generated, you can see. So it described the goals. It is like a PRD doc, right? So if you have certain development requirement for the project, you will start with initial planning, defining the goals, what are the tech stack we are going to make use of, then defining the folder structure and all, what are the components we will be needing, and then verifying whatever is getting developed. So this is very basic version, but initially when you are trying to develop some production grade sort of like applications, you can make use of we need to make use of like a combination of certain tools so that we can get the prompts fine-tuned first in a right way, and then we pass that prompt to the anti-gravity so that anti-gravity can have all the required and needed details, and based on that it can create the application. So this was the prompt, and based on this prompt it created a task list as well. Like based on the implementation plan, it came up with a task list also for this finance dashboard, so that we can track like what all steps are getting executed, what has been done, and we have color marking scheme in anti-gravity. Like if something is getting executed, it will be color coded blue and all. So if we need some, like if you're not happy with the implementation plan, whatever has been generated, you can tweak that either with the help of the prompt, or you can just go ahead and include some minor changes in the file directly. After that, like initially when you will be, like I'm moving a bit towards the development side, but before that you need to sort of like do the installation and all as well. So it is available on all the like three like most commonly used operating systems, Mac, Windows and Linux. So you can install the ID for any of the machines. And there are a couple of like tutorials already available online which you can walk through. So this is by one of the like Google developer team itself, Ramin Rani, like he works from India. So he came up with this basic tutorial which you can follow up for the installation and the initial steps. So either you can start fresh, or you can import any of the sort of like code base from your existing VS Code or from some other ID. And you can decide on the themes, like whatever your preferred mode of theme is.
And then we have different ways of like how you want to use the agent, whether you want to go sort of like completely agent driven development, where you don't have to sort of like stop in between or review what the agent is doing. Do you want to do the agent assisted development, where we have more control and we are monitoring every step of the agent, whatever it is doing? We have review driven development. You can even go for the custom configuration as well. And terminal execution policy also we need to be very careful with, because if you will give sort of like autonomous control to the agent or the ID, you don't know what is going to happen with your system or with your code base. So better go with sort of like keep this off, never auto execute any of the commands, at least during the initial phase till these tools are not very much mature. I'm not saying against anything against these tools, but we need to be a bit careful in terms of like how we are using these tools, right? So that's why like keep this off, so that any malicious commands are not getting executed on your terminal and you're not getting hacked or something. And if you're working in the organization, there more things are on the stake. So that's the one thing. Then we have review policy also. So make sure that you keep the request review also on, like ask for review after every step initially, so that you can see what is happening behind the scene. If you're very much sure, if you're just like too lazy to do anything, you can go for like always proceed, but at your own risk. Okay, so this is like some of the review policy, and configuration and all, like I will skip. Whatever you do for the VS Code, like whatever editor and all you want to use for it, you can use it. And make sure that for testing purpose, Antigravity IDE uses the Chrome browser. So you install Antigravity extension on your like Chrome. Okay, so this is like a basic installation part. Model choices we've already seen, like what all models we have available. So initially, like Google has released a public preview version of Antigravity. So with certain limits, you have all these models available which you can make use of. So whenever you will give the prompt to the like this ID, during the implementation planning phase, it will decide which model should be used for which steps. Like we don't need sort of like Cloud Opus for a very sort of like basic task, right? Or Gemini Claude, where we just need the flash thinking or something like that. So it has inbuilt capability to decide on like which model also should be used, and since it has like integrated other Gemini family model as well, so it can auto generate the icons and all if needed. And for optimizing strategy, this is what I was talking about. So if it's a designer, maybe it just needs the Gemini 3 Pro model. If the agent has to code, then it might need Opus or Cloud Sonnet. And for something like quick fixes, documentation and all, it can be done using the Flash model. So it is very much sort of like optimized in terms of cost also, like which model should be used at which step, so that we are not burning the cost like any other vibe coding tools. Okay. So these are like, and another aspect which we need to know is like it is coming with a lot of like out of the box MCP server integration as well. For example, for a production grade application, we need the backend database connectivity as well. So we have Supabase integration, and GitHub for repository management. We have that also accessible with the MCP server. And for payment gateway and all, we have Stripe at the moment. And you can also sort of like develop mobile applications. It's not just limited to the web application. So if you want to design some games and want to make money, a lot of people have already started doing it. They are trying to find out like what are top 10, top 50 trending applications on Play Store or Apple Store. They are just reverse engineering, coming up with a prompt and launching their own application. I mean, one of my friends from India, just within 2 hours, he built an application for his mom kitty party. So some game they were like sort of like playing manually, and he just went ahead and created a game and gave them on the Android. So yeah, I mean that kind of like creativity people are coming with. So you can also plan and monetize your skills, not just limiting yourself to the production usage. Yeah, best practices we already talk about, like cost management, and make sure that safety mode and all is on. So let's jump to the sort of like ID immediately, like to see some magic over here, like how exactly it works. Also, like for using any of the tools, they are like a step-by-step process. If you're not very much clear with your prompts, what you're creating and what tech stack you should be using, then the chances are very high that the output will not be, I mean, whatever application you will generate with a generic prompt, the application will be also generated like very generic. It will not be something out of the box. So imagine like if you have to sort of like generate a very modern, aesthetically pleasing application for your users, which is not just like having good animation or appealing UI, but also in terms of like how the information is displayed to the users, which part of the text is placed where, how the animation transition should happen. So we need to define all those sort of like details in the prompts so that it gets incorporated when the implementation plan is getting generated. So there are multiple ways of doing that. How many of you have used Notebook LM over here? Okay, at least a couple of you. How many of you have heard of Notebook LM? Okay, how many of you have not even heard of Notebook LM? Okay, so if you have not used it or if you're not using it, I will suggest like start using it, because that is very underrated AI tool, and I'm not saying because being a GD, but personally also the way it can add value for your day-to-day work, it's like very immense. So this is the Notebook LM UI, and here like whatever you want to do, let's say give me some suggestions like what application we should be creating, like some games, any idea? Tambula was like trending under 50. Any other application or gaming ideas?
Gaming specifically?
Yeah, I mean something very simple.
Pac-Man, like a Pac-Man thing?
Pac-Man, okay, yeah. Okay, let's see. Pac-Man. Okay, for Pac-Man we don't need a sort of like Notebook LM over here. We can just directly start with the prompt. Fine tune my prompt.
Oh, you mean like a custom game? What about a game like Stop It, where it shows the little guy science color?
Yeah, I mean something, Pac-Man will be like quite straightforward. I think we can just ask Antigravity also and it will be able to identify based on the model access and all.
Yeah.
Which one?
Pong.
Pong, okay.
Pong, that's it, that one. That's what you should build too.
Nice.
It's your live demo, man.
I don't know how it will
I don't know either. It's not realistic.
create. What's the spelling of Atari? Atari. Atari, okay. Pong. Fine tune my prompt for Google Antigravity.
So you're using AI to make a prompt?
Yes.
So,
So, okay, so you can fine tune the prompt. It's not necessary that you should go through this step, but mainly I'm just showing here like with a very basic step of fine tuning, but you can think of like collecting the resources from the internet. Maybe you are trying to create a market intelligence website for what is happening in the energy industry, for what is happening in the minerals industry and so on. And for that, maybe whatever initial prompt we will be coming up with, that will not be sufficient with, or we will not be personally aware of like what all sources we should be referring, what APIs we should be using, and what are the other agencies or non-profit organizations or for profit organizations for doing the research and all to collect those kind of intelligence, right? So for such kind of like market intelligence website and all, if you want to prepare, you can come here. You can give your initial prompt in the Notebook LM. What it will do is like it will do the web search for all the like sources, whatever it can find out from the internet, and you will have the option to select like whatever sources you can trust. So it's not like blindly you have to go for the selected resources or whatever the tool has selected. Instead, you have the option to customize after manually checking the sources, and then based on that you can start chatting with the notebook LM, and it will give you whatever that you'll be asking for. And based on the context you will be, or based on the knowledge base you will be building for your usage, you can create reports, flashcards, quiz, PRD doc, infographics, slide deck, and all. So this is notebook LM generated slide. I have not written a single line of text over here. Okay, so this is like how it goes. Like I'm just not trying to like talk about anti-gravity over here, but how you can combine different tools and be more productive rather than spending hours of time in generating the slides, in writing the prompts, or coming up with all the like Google search and compiling the resources by your own. So this whole slide and even this slide, if you look at, everything is generated by like even the labels of all this color coding and everything, AI generated. And I will show you like how that prompt was initially, and you will get the idea of like how exactly the notebook LM is working. So you can generate the slide, data tables, infographics, and everything. So just to give you the gist of it, you can see over here like I searched something, and based on that it came up with top 10 or something resources. I had the option of selecting, unselecting the resources, and based on that you can go to the slide deck. You can sort of like you can give the custom prompt exactly what you want on your slide, and based on that it will generate the slide for you. Okay. So similarly, not just for the slide is very basic usage of it, but if you're building some applications, if you have to do some market research and all, you can leverage notebook LM over here. So coming back to this Gemini part, where is my prompt? Okay, so let's start with the basic prompt. Generate prompt for, I wrote it somewhere but I lost that tab, for Google Antigravity. Any questions meanwhile?
For the notebook LM, what was the context when you noticed like it started falling off?
It started what?
Like how many videos did you need to put in there for it to still feel like it?
It's up to you. Like if you're fine with just, I mean, this act as a knowledge source. Like earlier, if you have worked on the GenAI, you would be knowing RAG, like Retrieval Augmented Generation of the like information. So based on that, this act as a live source for us. If whatever source has been listed, if I don't want to use any of the like available sources, I can uncheck it. And then if whatever action I will perform in the notebook LM after unselecting any of the options, it will not be grounded on these two videos.
Okay, so are those put into the context window, or are those like?
Those will be used in the context window then,
Okay,
for the
so
next
then
bit.
how many do you think, like, what do you think that context window is? Like if you added like 5 more videos, do you think it would still have a good output?
It will be there, and the context window will increase obviously if you're adding more sort of like sources, and the length by which it is increasing, it will depend upon the length of the transcript of those videos or the text of those blogs and sources.
But you haven't noticed like a hard?
No, I have not taken.
I mean, I think it all depends. Like sometimes more context is worse. So like you want to just make sure you hone in on your resources. Like I mean, if you put every YouTube video on Antigravity, you'll probably get a very good result. But it writes it out. I'm assuming if you provide very targeted things, it'll be better.
Yes. So 5 to 10 sort of like sources you can select, top whatever you want to go with, and it will be grounding all the information based on that. And this is good for learning also, like anything you can learn using the notebook LM. So coming back to this part, let's see what it does. So it will give me a basic prompt which I can just copy and paste in the anti-gravity ID. So you can see this is the fine-tuned prompt. So you can see the difference, right? Like just asking create a Atari Pong game, and if you read this prompt, then there's a huge difference. Even after this prompt, you see there are certain missing informations which needs to be incorporated or we want to include. Maybe you don't want to use sort of like HTML5 canvas, or you want to make it mobile friendly or something like that. You can design the prompt, customize the prompt accordingly. Then whatever sort of like prompt you have decided on, let me start a new window for this. Okay, so let me maximize it. So I will copy paste that prompt, and it will start with sort of like understanding what I have asked. It will come up with a planning of like what it needs to do, and in the planning phase, the orchestrator will decide on like what all steps needs to be executed, and then it will come up with the implementation plan and the list of the tasks. So you can see this is the thought process of this still thinking. So you can see it has come up with the implementation plan, and if we go through this implementation plan, it is like create a browser-based Atari Pong, proposed changes, mechanics, initialization, the twist, physics, everything, the verification plan. Like it has come up with the initial plan. So if you need any changes, you can just directly sort of like add the comment, and it will be taken care of. And if there are no changes, you can just go ahead and proceed with the development part. And before proceeding with the development part, check the task list as well. What all tasks are going to be executed from here. Okay. So it's again very basic game.
Oh, why is there a twist?
Then the ball hits the paddle or the first point is scored.
I think that's no. That's because I'm assuming. So in the game of Pong, I mean, I'm sorry, shut up. It's like I'm thinking like when you wrote Antigravity, like in the video game context, that means completely different.
Yeah.
You might not know.
It might
So
not.
eventually
Yeah,
you
the
add,
context
like,
is missing.
Antigravity IDE or something. So, but
Yeah.
I think hey, you know what? It's a fun spin. Who knows what to do?
Yeah, maybe some new form of Pong. Yeah. So yeah, I mean sometimes like we have to be careful with like what words we are using. Slight miss, like as I did right now, can develop something completely different.
Well, I think it's gonna be cool. I don't know. Do it.
Yeah. So it will start with creating all your project folder structure and what all files needs to be created.
So you actually, so while this is going, should have a question for you. Because
Yes.
like when I was starting, like I see a lot more people nowadays when they talk about like agentic development, they're like talking about the plan, sometimes more than the actual code. Is that like the first step? Like
Yes.
whenever using an agentic ADE?
Yes. So some of the best steps I was coming to, for example, if you have to design a website for a very luxury phone brand, or if you're launching sort of like luxury. How many of you love chocolates here? How many of you love chocolates here? Chocolate, sweet tooth? I am. So that's why I'm picking up chocolates. So let's say if you want to launch a luxury chocolate brand and you don't know where to start with, right? But you would have done at least some market research. If you have not done that also, Notebook LM is there for your rescue. So try to find out like 3 to 5 luxury chocolate websites which are using animations and all. And based on that, take the screenshot of that to provide as a context. And that will act as a sort of like giving some sort of like reference information to the ID, like what exactly you're looking for. So you can, you have this plus sign also, you can see that, you can add images and all. So initially with the first prompt itself, you can provide some sample UI. Also you can generate sort of like a custom image also using Google Labs tools. So 2 of the tools I was just testing before coming over here. One is Whisk. So using Whisk, you can see 2-3 images I have generated over here. One is for a luxury phone, and one where all the parts of it are unassembled, so that I can build the animation on the website where all the unassembled parts are getting assembled and I'm getting my final mobile phone, right? So that kind of thoughts you can bring in, like how creative you can be, and then using this, you can create, using the flow, you can create a video as well. I mean, the video has not come up very right. I mean, I need to work on it. But you can see, you can come up with a video. So obviously, while creating the website, Antigravity will not take the videos as the input, okay? And with just one image, it cannot generate this kind of animation. So we will convert this to sort of like all the JPG frames, JPEG frames will be capturing from this video using this tool. Download all the frames and then provide that as a context to your Antigravity initially, that these are the set of the frames, animations which I want to use with a very fine-tuned prompt, and very amazing website it will create for you then. So such, I mean, you have to be a bit creativity, you need to have a bit of creativity rather than just like directly using the tool and being very much lazy. So if you just play around a bit, then you can do a lot more rather than just getting a simple. So that's the difference between a generic website and a very standard and premium websites, like how you get it generated. So something it has done. So yeah, it generated very fast. I don't know, like. Yeah, let's see. Yep, we should be able to run it. So if you go to this walkthrough, so walkthrough will give you the how exactly it has been generated. Basic containers. Okay. Let me see. Yeah, it's just index HTML. So I think we have to start that. So yeah, we have our game ready. I mean, it didn't even take 5 minutes. So yeah, it's working.
Oh, that's interesting. Like it tried to Hongol. Like it tried to make me go, whoa! What the heck?
Something. I know. That's a twist. So
it's a kind of little. Yeah, that's interesting.
yes, I mean new version of the Pong. So you can play around, experiment with what already exists also, and see what new you are coming up with.
Oh, it did the Google April Fool's thing.
Yeah, it tried to make a Google homepage for Pong, and it's kind of interesting.
Yep. I mean, I didn't pay much attention to the prompt, what exactly is happening, but yeah.
Ship it. It works. It moves. It's 4 points.
So
It's kind of like points. Cool.
yeah. So
So I mean, Shadab, this is good, the browser thing. Have you seen it be able to extend past to backend? So let's say you wanted to make a multiplayer version of this game. Have you seen it be able to develop a backend API and Antigravity and all these agentic
yeah, Supabase and all we can integrate. So obviously the prompt needs to be fine-tuned.
Yeah.
So I mean, my website also, what you have seen, I developed it using Lovable. I also vibe coded. And it took a lot of time, and I exhausted a lot of credits while working on it. But next, I've just started with Antigravity, migrating my website so that I can be independent of these vibe coding tools. So it is coming good. I have to still do some changes and make it more modern and aesthetically fine, so that on browsing, on different, in terms of different device compatibility, how my backend is getting managed through an admin panel, everything is getting taken care of. So yeah, but to answer your question, Joel, we have Supabase integration available as an MCP server, but I have not tested that with other MCP servers. Google has launched its own set of MCP servers, which I was covering in the previous talk, and we have a BigQuery MCP server as well, which we can make use of. So maybe with certain customization and providing certain details, we can connect to some other databases as well. Yep. So yeah, that's it. I think I think I'm under the time, right? I'm not running over.
Yeah, maybe 15 minutes.
15 minutes. Okay. Cool. So this is what Antigravity can do for you. So if you want to try, I mean, if you want to do hands-on by your own, so there are a couple of code labs already developed by Google team. So you can just go and search for Google Antigravity tutorials. You will land up to you'll find on the very first page a couple of links. So this is one of them, a step-by-step guide how you can make use of it. Then this is a blog which you can follow to get started with. This is the main product page, where it was, I mean, product page of Google Antigravity, where you can go and see what all is happening. And from here itself, you can download based on your laptop's OS. And also some of the other things which I have not shown you through the demo, but you can think of if you have to create custom animation and all. So we all are fan of the UI components which Apple team generates, right? So anti-gravity has capability to generate graphics and animations of that level of aesthetics, not some random where we sort of think what we have got from the AI. So start with anti-gravity. It's a very good ID. This is the pinball machine which was generated. I think this is another use case. So a lot of use cases you will find on their website as well. So the graphics, the animations, the control and everything. And obviously in the very first version, the chances are not like 100% it will give me what I'm looking for. So you have the prompt to sort of pass it again the information or the changes you're looking for. And based on that, it will update your code base and the website, and it will give you the final results. And with just one, everything is in a folder, and it can be containerized as well. So you can sort of install the Docker extension and everything, and you can deploy that wherever you want. Yes.
It doesn't have ask mode, so do you have any workaround there?
No.
It only supports agent mode.
Yeah, it has ask mode, so it can be controlled from the settings from here. So based on whatever settings we'll be configuring over here, it will be sort of asking for the approval and the changes as well. So this application didn't need much of the steps. It was very quite straightforward, so it just went ahead. But when I was developing this financial dashboard, right, there if you look at the sort of steps, it was asking for approval at different stages.
So have you used Copilot?
Yes.
So there, in the ask mode, it takes all your workspace, all the code that is in that particular project, and it generates the code, and then you can actually compare it with what you have written, and then you can basically see, okay, this is correct. I want to implement this, and then you can implement that particular code.
Yeah. So that is a sort of more vibe coding thing where we go step by step. We give a prompt, we get certain results, we sort of review it, and then we again ask. And in a very bulk, if with a just single prompt we'll try the vibe coding tool to do everything, the chances are very high that it will generate junk codes and something which we don't even need. All these kinds of these things are happening with the Copilot and all. If you're not, I mean, it's a good tool, but we need to know how we're using it. Anti-gravity is more building end-to-end application with just one prompt, and before starting to develop the application, it will give you the implementation plan. So at that step itself, if you need the changes, you can make the tweaks. I didn't make the tweaks at that step, so that's why I didn't ask for anything moving forward. But once you approve the implementation plan, it will execute the implementation plan, it will test, and it will get all the errors fixed till your implementation plan is not executed. After that, you can make requests for the next set of iteration, whatever you need, based on whatever has been developed.
What I've seen a lot of folks in Shadab, I don't know if you covered it, the Agent Manager.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of folks use Agent Manager to build reproducible and repeatable things to do. So in lieu of having a formal ask mode, it's essentially establishing what should it be asked. What are the questions you should ask on a specific project? So I've seen and I've personally used a code review agent. Hey, before you commit the code, ensure that it meets these linting standards. You can also make think of it as almost an agent could be what you would typically ask, a PM or a project lead or an architect. And those are the things that can kind of come up throughout the life cycle. The nice thing about that is instead of asking questions on every project, especially when you're developing something it's multi-tenant, multi-platform, you can have those consistent agents so it's the same across all your projects too.
Yep.
That's kind of, it's not directly answered. I don't think there's there's only I think you showed the planning and the fast mode, but there is no simple ask questions. It's more that's part of the implementation. The idea is you say, this is what I want to build. You can walk away from your computer and you come back and you have a final product.
Yes.
Right.
No, it makes sense, but when you are working on already established project,
100%.
that time you want, if you are making small changes,
Yep.
it's a good.
I've seen agents MD typically before I would let, and I don't know Shadaf how you feel about this, but in an established project I would recommend you even add context as to what to do and what you should do.
Yeah.
Like there are probably pieces of code that you're like, don't touch this,
Yeah.
no matter
Yes.
whatever you do not touch this directory. This cannot touch. This is the database connection. Trust me, does not work. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So like you kind of give it what it can and can't do.
And a slight negligence while working with Copilot and all, and if you just keep on like relying on these kind of tools, it can delete the whole repository also. It has happened with a couple of folks.
But
Like
that's
they
why,
had the,
like,
they
I
had,
actually, that's why I don't like the agent mode.
yes.
Because like it starts doing its thing, and like in ask mode it gives you the code and you can like okay go through the code and see like okay this looks correct and you actually manually implement
Fix the
that
changes,
code.
yeah. So yeah, this is more like not. I mean, this is one level up, like not just for the developer, but I mean, developer. I mean, initially when we started with the coding, the whole era was different. Then before the vibe coding, it was different. With the vibe coding, it was different. And with anti-gravity, it's a like overall different kind of era itself, like how we are going to do or how we are going to develop the applications, right? So instead of like fixing one bug, you sort of like define, you develop, you improvise on top of it by identifying what all issues are. So it doesn't have the chat mode, but if that combination sort of like, oh, it got discharged, I think. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So in that case, like you can work with the VS Code also with some minor changes and all. And yeah, with vibe coding and all, we need to be very careful with, because I've seen like folks getting their whole files deleted, or a number of the code base increasing a lot unnecessarily, which they doesn't even need to sort of like have. So we need to pay sort of like attention to the details as well over there, like whatever we are asking, what is getting developed, and if something junk is getting developed or some functions it is generating extra and all, how do we get rid of it? And never go into agent mode, like how he was saying, if you're working with a enterprise grade application, the chances are very high, like you will either end up using some sort of leaking some sort of like passwords, secrets, or any vulnerabilities if you'll have in your code base that can have a like a good stake for an organization over there. Yep. So I think that here.
So at my firm, we first started using Copilot, then we moved on to Windsurf, then we moved on to Cloud Code. Now I'm pretty sure we are going to get Antigravity whenever the enterprise-wide is available. What I feel like isn't it causing too much tech fatigue within the engineers? Like so many tools available, and then I feel like based on my team, what they do, how they are using, they are not creating application from the scratch. Like very few engineers within an org or within enterprise would get an opportunity to work where they have to create something from scratch. Most of them are working on a pre-existing application.
Yes.
All they are doing is probably refining the code here and there, maybe developing a feature here and there, or maybe updating unit tests. Isn't it an overkill of so many tools and causes fatigue at the end? Like, what should I use?
I mean, overall, at a like industry level, if you see, yes. I mean, a lot of tools are coming up, and we have to experiment and play around, like what is going to be best for us. And it depends upon like organization focus, also like how they see. For example, healthcare companies are still a bit skeptical about even allowing Copilot or Cursor as well during their development environment, right? They are not like adapting it yet till their compliance team gives them the go-ahead. So, I mean, and at the same time, some of the companies are adapting also, like on a fast pace, because the whole, like, I was just watching an interview of Replit's CEO co-founder, and he was talking the same thing, like the way the sort of like programming started, like starting with Turing machine, then Grasshopper coming with the programming codes, and then like different languages, compilers, and all has come. The same way, this is also a change and transformation. We will be adapting to it. For example, for the existing project also, we can sort of like we can make those changes using the anti-gravity. We have to just clone the existing projects or sort of like open that workspace over here. And based on like, we run that on local or wherever we are running it. And we ask anti-gravity for making the changes. So if you look from cursor or windsurf, cursor is still sort of like even Copilot. We can make one changes, or we can ask for a function or a set of functions to be created if we know what exactly the requirement is. But still it cannot fix the whole application in one go, right? So that limit, anti-gravity is coming up. You can just identify what all issues you have in your existing code base, and you can try to overcome with the help of anti-gravity. How much it will be able to do, that I still need to test. But that's the milestone where we are heading towards. Yep. Yes.
Sorry, last question. So you showed that we can build the application from the scratch. It looks very good for a monolithic application.
Yes.
How do you build a backend application where there are like multiple microservices? Like, how would you suggest to play with the prompt so that you can build a multiple microservices?
Yeah, so if you look at the structure of this, like this is quite straightforward, and we have not sort of created any, it's a very monolithic, as you said, right? So similarly in the prompt, we can sort of define I need different APIs, like I need an API for this, I need an API for this. I want to deploy my front end and back end separately. Back end needs to be sort of deployed in such a way that it should be scalable enough. Or if you're just building the services, so that kind of those things we can just play around, sort of what exactly you need, and based on that it will be able to take care of.
So my main question was it doesn't have an I've seen this across different tools, and it doesn't have an capability of referring to a complete different project. Am I correct?
That I've not tested yet.
Do you mean like actual looking code?
No, it's like if you are working on one project and you have some other project that is another microservice, which talks with this microservice. So you actually want it to refer to the code base of that other project also.
To also the code, or to use it as like a runtime?
To just refer it so that it can build solution or features in this project on basis of that.
So instead of code base, the AI tools are understanding through the documentation also they can understand, right? So if you have some documentation of that repository, you can pass that as a context, and it should be able to pick it up. Joel?
To add that to what I've seen, I personally have not done, is open API spec, pretty standard, almost a lot of our frameworks have it. I've seen that get exposed as an MCP, and that answers your thing. So you would expose the API spec to your agentic development environment. It would ask questions like, what can I do? And it would give it back all the functions and translate it. That's where I've seen it kind of take, there's a post by Christian Pasta, he's very big in the cloud native community, and I've seen that kind of in the direction people have gone. So open API spec, if you Google Christian Pasta, open API spec, MCP, you'll see an article.
Open API is
No, but exposing it as an MCP to your agentic. So that's the connecting piece. The MCP part is very important because I think should not be mentioned. MCPs are available in Instagram.
Yes. So MCPs you can integrate. So a lot of services and tools, they're coming up with their own MCP server, so that for the agentic development and to perform the task autonomously, we can integrate those servers and can make the integration. So like Stripes, we have PayPal also, they have also come up with their own MCP server. Google Cloud already launched, something Microsoft is also working on. We have whole set of skills or MCP servers which are available in the market. So if you just, if you're working with APIs and all, and if you open the Postman has also listed all the exposed MCP servers, whatever is available through their platform. So any external API integration and all, those are also as a service only, external services. So you can just integrate that with your application and do the development.
How far have you gone in terms of could you connect it to Cloud Run with a function set up and have it run from Antigravity?
Cloud Run is not exposed through MCP server or Antigravity yet.
Well, could it connect? So it's not, there's nothing that I can't.
No, not end-to-end deployment. On Google Cloud, I think with Google Compute Engines and Kubernetes services, We
They
have
added,
MCPs.
just recently, in
Yeah.
last month.
Last month.
There's a remote MCP for Google Cloud, and you should be able to do that.
Yes.
You should.
It's like I don't want to read documentation.
No. You just basically want to say, I have a container, make it run, and you say, hey, run the port 8080. Yeah, there you go. I
Yeah.
don't remember if Cloud Run was on in that
Cloud Run
list.
was not there.
It's not
Like,
yet.
I would have a genuine question, like how fast we could get it to the point where I go from having local host to having it.
So deployment is still sort of like it takes some time. It gives you the production ready application, but for deployment you have to put some effort and have a ops pipeline in place. So that's why the Git integration and all helps you over there. So if you have everything in sync, you can have the automated CI/CD pipeline which can take care of the deployment for you. And deployment and setting the CI/CD pipeline is one-time task. Like once you have initially set up for the project, it keeps going on automatically, and you can just monitor it. Yes.
I know you mentioned something about Stripe and PayPal with respect to the payment gateways that they have integrated. Is there like specific affinity towards certain type of applications that you build with Antigravity associated to any specific financial tools, or is it like everything is pretty much customizable?
Very good question, but I've not tested that with other tools yet. I was just trying to get my hands with what is already available, but that is something which I need to try out. But there should be some flexibility over there, we can make use of other MCP servers as well. So by default, they have listed Supabase, Stripe, and one more, but there should be definitely few more integration which we can do, if it's just through the MCP server.
So, sorry, I feel like, and I have to chime back on the Cloud Run thing. There is a local Cloud Run MCP. There is no remote one yet.
Okay.
But I know for a fact that I've seen people locally use it. So you have to run it like MPX or whatever, and then you get the create two credentials, but then you do something like as simple as /deploy, and it just goes into your project. Now I may ask you regionality questions and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
sorry.
No,
Remember it, I was like,
good detail.
if it's not remote, it's only local.
Yeah.
That's why.
So yeah, these are some of the MCP servers which is launched for using with Google services, Google Cloud, like BigQuery, Google Maps, GCE, GKE. I think Firebase also recently they launched. I'm not sure where it is.
And I guarantee you by Cloud Next, that all bunch of these are going to be.
Yes, it's going to be
standard
announced.
features.
So there's a whole bunch of things we can do and play around.
I think honestly the big thing for me was when MCP got donated to the Linux Foundation, that's when Google was like, all right, we can
Yeah,
contribute and donate other
Yeah.
MCPs out there.
So yeah, any other questions from anyone? Cool. If not, maybe you can just check out these sort of pages. This was the initial finance risk dashboard which we built. So checking the index funds and all. This website was also just built with single prompt. You can always play around and iterate and can integrate the databases as well. But yeah, and couple of resources I've already shared with you, and you can join GDG Chicago, how the link which Joel shared, and go ahead and try the other MCP services also, whatever Google has launched. And there are couple of other.
One thing, just while you're typing that, I've seen a very interesting trend now where people are using Claude Code plus Antigravity to do multi-agent workflows. That I haven't definitely not done. It's better than running a Claude bot. Be careful running Claude bot. Even the people on the live stream, there's a threat right now. They detected so many public endpoints. People are running these at your house. Dude, these guys could. It's a public endpoint. You got to be very careful.
Yep.
So what you're doing there, but check out Claude and Dago.
So yeah, a lot of
I
automations are happening.
Have you tried it?
No, I haven't tried it.
It's on
I
my
have
list.
to. I saw a couple of videos and tutorials, but I need to test this out. But people are completely automating, even whatever steps I was doing manually, right? Generating the image, generating the video, converting that to the JPEG frames, or fine-tuning my prompt. People are building the whole workflow by combining these different tools where end-to-end execution can happen.
Is there anything you're spending
Sorry, what was the question?
Anything you're not automating, it's something like you'll look and you'll spend time on it,
No.
but you're not going to touch it.
Yeah, I mean, whatever
Maybe it's
development
like
we
setting
do,
up EC2s or something like
yeah,
that.
I mean, whatever we do, we have to pay the attention because of the restrictions and making sure that quality is there. So, I mean, these things are there, we are just like creating the awareness, but when it comes to the actual work, we are not just relying on the automation yet. I mean, we don't know where it can go wrong or what can happen.
There's I'd say like where I personally started shifting towards, like on that question, is like on the thought as the next step after this task is done. Now you could like, it's gonna stink because at the end of the day, like it's basically, there's an article about like this killing software engineering, because really you're not really writing software anymore, you're just talking or planning or writing, right? So to me, like that to me is where I've spent most of my time, is the after this task is done. Yes, you can have task after task, whatever, Ralph's crap, whatever. But I think like, what am I actually gonna be doing with this? You know, like the deployment aspect of it, where is it gonna run, the architecture, things. That's where I find myself being stuck more. After like the code component of it.
And these kind of like development, we are moving towards like combining the agent with the skills and whatever you want to do on your local computer and all you can perform. So
Skills, there's so much.
Yep.
I don't even know how to keep up.
it's moving very fast, like it
So
gets
crazy.
difficult to catch up with everything.
I know.
So yeah, I mean, that's it from my side. Any questions from anyone before we close, or else I'll pass the mic to Joel. Good, Joel. Good.
Yeah, for sure.
You got a question?
Oh, yeah.
There's a question back.
Does it require to do documentation to send out the links in the chat box? If we have to refer documentation online, if we insert the link, that will be chat window.
Of anti-gravity?
Yes.
Okay. I
Refer to the documentation.
think you can pass it. Should be fine. Yep. Because it will have the access.
I've been lazy enough to just say, read this for me and
Yep. Over to you, Joel. Yeah. Thanks everyone. Then.
Alrighty. Hey, let's give a round of applause for Rob. Thank you so much for speaking today. Cool. Well, with that was our speaker. Is this your phone show? Yeah. Thanks for coming today. And I don't know if there's still any sodas. We're gonna be out of here in like 20 minutes or so. If you're on the live stream, thank you for tuning in. We're gonna hopefully try and make this better. I also learned a remote mic is better than listening to me breathe on the keyboard, so thank you for being vocal about that. But yeah, so with that, thank you so much. You make this all possible, the community here in Chicago. So have a great one, stay warm, and hopefully see you next month. And if you're going to Next, see you there.
Yay!
All right, gotta clean up now.